So welcome again, everyone. And we have a very packed schedule focusing on three main careers that I'm learning much more about: environmental health, medical technology, and marine science. And we have a great group of very interesting people from different aspects of this as careers, and then representing different universities where they have these training programs or can support them, as well as the University of the Bahamas that we have here. And I've lined it up like this to have the career professional first, and then the person talking from the university to tell you how you can get that degree or how you can get the training, some of the training that can propel you to that. And then after each one, we'll have some time for questions. It is a pretty packed schedule, so I appreciate the speakers helping me keep the whole thing on track. If you have questions, I'll try to be monitoring the chat as well, but we'll make time after each section as well as at the end. And again, this is going to be recorded. If you have questions or want to reach out to me afterwards, I'll be happy to help you make connections with these people. So I'm going to start with environmental health. And we have Mrs. Eustacia Jennings, or Stacy, and she is the principal consultant and CEO at Jennings Environmental Safety and Security. Stacy, are you here? You want to unmute and just at
Yes,
least?
I am
Oh,
here.
great. Very good, very good. And I have your slides ready to go. And then we have a representative from East Tennessee State University, Dr. Megan Quinn, and that's where you can get training in environmental health. So let me first I'll introduce Ms. Jennings. She's a seasoned environmental health and safety professional. She completed her associate's degree in chemistry and mathematics at Bain, graduating with the Governor General's Award. She completed her bachelor's degree in chemistry and environmental studies at McGill University in Toronto, Canada, or no, anyway, Montreal, I think, right? And has a master's degree also in environmental management at the University of Houston, Clear Lake, so in Texas. She is all but dissertation for her PhD in environmental science at the University of North Texas and hopes one day to complete it. So, Ms. Jennings. She is the CEO and principal consultant of JESS, that's Jennings Environmental Safety and Security Consultants. She has many safety and environmental certifications and over 20 years of environmental experience and 10. There's some kind of sound. I don't know if others can mute. Sure. Anyway, she now spends her time with JESS consultants, clients developing environmental and safety management systems for companies, recently with more focus on COVID-19 risk management. The company's slogan, safe people, safe places, safe planet, encourages everyone to make choices that reduce risk and promote safety. So I'll have Ms. Jennings do her presentation, and I'll introduce you to Dr. Megan Quinn. Okay. So, not done. There. Beautiful picture. Go ahead, Ms. Jennings.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Gallen, for that introduction. I think with your introduction, you kind of did my whole presentation almost. But this is going to talk about myself, my journey, how I became an environmental health and safety professional, and what I'm doing now. So as was mentioned, my name is Eustacia Jennings. I am the principal consultant and CEO of Jennings Environmental Safety and Security Consultants. So you can go on to the next slide for me. what I am going to talk about is really how I came into this. So my purpose, my passion for the field, what preparation I took in getting me into this career, and then the positioning, how I ended up in the spot that I am now as a entrepreneur, as a consultant, etc. So the next slide, I like to start with the fact that I tell people before I was actually born, it was purpose for me to be an environmentalist and also a teacher and in this field, because my mother, she's pictured there, she was a student at College of the Bahamas at the time, doing her teaching degree, and she was literally taking a managing the environment class when she was pregnant with me. And she was going through the wetlands at the sewer station, you know, and I'm in her belly. And I told her that I was leaping for joy because I was so excited at what she was doing from when I was in her womb. And that's the story I have. She remembers it a little differently, but that's my story and I'm sticking with it. So before I was born, I think it was instilled in me just to be an environment, to be curious about nature, be curious about the environment. And it's not just me, my little brother is the same way too. That's my baby brother. We're actually born on the same day, 16 years apart. And we're both lovers of the environment and everything like that. So I think there's something to be said about that. Also our upbringing, we were part of the parkfinding stuff. We did a lot of nature hiking, spent a lot of time in nature. And I like to say that I'm a mermaid. I spent a lot of time in the water and I have a mermaid life. The safety part of my job came in, we actually had a personal tragedy. My father actually suffered an occupational health and safety incident. He got ill from his job, the toxic fumes, etc., affect his health when I was young and growing up. And that made me curious about, you know, how things and the environment can affect your bodies. And how environmental impacts can actually have impacts on your health. And so, yeah, I think it was a purpose, you know, a mixture of passion, purpose, and pain. So we can go on to the next slide. So taking all of that, I guess preparation, I started out, as mentioned, I went to UB, College of Bahamas at the time. I was taking up chemistry because, like I said, I was interested in chemicals and how they impacted the body. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, but my fear of blood kind of X'd that out. But I did chemistry as a major. I was the general award and I did math. Total science nerd, but I wanted to do more. So when I went to McGill, I took up chemistry again. But one summer I was interning for Senator Lynn Hall-Wesco at the time. I worked for her husband, Bill Hall-Wesco, for many years. And I had to intern for work at her office at Life with Key, and she was the ambassador for the environment at the time. And I'd never heard of environmental being a career or things environment. And she was at the time attending the Montreal Protocol on like ozone contamination. And I was just intrigued. And I was like, what? This is something I can do with my life? I can do this? And I literally went back the next semester in school and I picked up environmental studies as a minor because we didn't have really a full major program there at McGill at the time. And that began my love for the environment. And then I did my master's in environmental management, my PhD, but also volunteering for organizations like the World Wildlife Fund in Canada, Bahamas National Trust, etc., and doing other internships just to learn about the environment, even if I wasn't getting paid. And then I had a lot of great mentors, like Dr. Kathleen Sullivan-Seeley, who was at the time at UB. She was a great mentor for me, and my former boss, Dwayne Curtis, and they helped me, you know, in my journey of becoming an environmental chemist and an environmental scientist and being intrigued about the environment. And the next slide will tell you more about my positioning. So I have many, many jobs. Like my resume is literally like 4 pages long because I have adult ADD, I think. But I don't stay, and I think that's why I ended up being a consultant, because I never stayed put on, I don't think I've been on any job more than 3 years because I like different projects. And so all the different jobs that I've had, all the different networks that I've formed, we have a great organization called Bahamians Educated in Natural Geographic Sciences. We network and share information and encourage each other. I'm a world traveler, I love travel. And because of my field, it opens up doors for me. I've been to over 74 countries. And I love traveling to countries and just being in nature in all of the countries that I'm in, and doing just conservation things on my trips and helping out and hanging with wild animals, etc. And so I like to say that I'm global minded. I work in the Bahamas as my head base, but I have clients literally all over the region and different parts of the world. And so this career path has really opened up doors for me. And so when I was let go of my job during the pandemic, it positioned me and it allowed me to start my own consulting firm, JESS Consultants, which is the next slide. And so JESS Consultants was kind of birthed out of me and pushed me into my purpose. I was able to then be a consultant and help different companies in different fields with environmental health and safety projects. Like you said, my motto is safe people, safe places, safe planet. And we take that very seriously, and we help companies to develop that, or projects and NGOs, governments, etc., to realize that also. And so some of the things I've been working on in the last year or so, the Minamata Convention, which is on mercury pollution, similar to the ozone convention, that Montreal Protocol that I first read about when I first started. Everything's coming like full circle, where we're going to be trying to make more awareness of mercury pollution, and we're trying to do an inventory and just adhere to the convention as a signatory to it. And then a lot of climate change projects, COP26 just happened, and it's a big thing now in the Bahamas, and this new government has taken that on. And then my crux is environmental and safety management systems. I believe in systems being a very important tool to help us with managing environmental health issues, safety issues. And so I help companies develop those systems to risk assessments, and then a lot of EHS training, because a lot of this is new for a lot of companies in the Bahamas. And the next slide. And so my company, it's all about the plan, do, check, act cycle when we're doing these systems. And that's the logo, the circle in my logo in my, for my company. And the next slide talks about the hierarchy of controls, and this can be applied to safety or environmental risks and toxins, that we try to eliminate them first, and then if we can eliminate them, substitute them out, then we engineering controls to help with the environmental health hazards, administrative controls, and then PPE should be the last line of defense. I know I went kind of fast. I think this is the last slide coming up. This is one of my favorite quotes that I always like to end or start with. That Baba Diem says that in the end, we will only conserve what we love. We will only love what we understand, and we will only understand what we are taught. And so that's why I think teaching and education is the foundation and the way you start. And even training in corporations is how you're going to get people to take care of the environment, to be concerned about their environment, their health, their sustainability issues, etc. And so it's really important that we start increasing awareness and teaching persons and helping them to understand in lay terms what it means and how it's going to affect them. And I think this is the last slide coming up. Yeah, so why EHS, environmental health and safety? I think it's a rewarding career. For me, it has been. I feel purpose-driven, and that it's fulfilling me and helping me to live out my purpose. And I help to make the Bahamas and indeed the world a better place and a safer place. And it opens up doors to the world, literally. And I love the fact that I'm flexible and I can work wherever I am. I was literally on a flight this morning, and then I'm going to be on another flight tomorrow, and I can still do my work. And I can do projects all over the world and help to just make sustainability something that's not just a catchphrase, but that's actually being implemented. And I think that's it for me. So thank you so much. And I think they're going to tell you more about the program and how you can get into environmental health and safety. And if you have any questions for me, I'll stay on for a little bit longer and I'll answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much. Seems a few people are having issues getting in, so I'm going to stop share for a minute and try and get that meeting information to them. Are there any quick questions that people have right now that would be helpful to answer? Go ahead, unmute.
What would be a good starting point if I wanted to consider this an option?
I think one of the best starting points is to find someone who is doing what you think you want to do and talk to them. So if you think you're interested in what I'm doing, just have a conversation with me. Like I said, internships and volunteering, getting spend some time in that field to see if that's what you're really interested in, and then go and pursue those find programs that can help you to learn the field, to learn the theory of it. I'm sure the next speaker is going to tell you about one of those programs that they have, where you can sign up and do it. The good thing is, back in my day, we didn't really have environmental health and safety programs or environmental study programs. It wasn't as common in the 1990s as it is now. So that's the good thing, that you have a lot of options out there.
Great. One more question, and then Shania Brown, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Ms. Jennings. I think it was a really good presentation. So I'm actually interested in environmental science, but more so I'm interested in like climate change and health, like joining the two. So I wanted to know, like, do you know anyone within that field, or what would you suggest I do to go about like getting more involved in it? Besides working to like the Bahamas National
Yes.
or the Nature Conservancy.
Yeah, so actually persons who I'm actually working on projects like that. Like I literally just signed a contract for climate change and health specialists. So it does exist. There are people who are doing that. There's Charles Hamilton, he's now with the Office of the Prime Minister. There's a whole advisory team that are working on health and climate change with Dr. Carol Phillips, et cetera, within the ministry. So the good thing is, because it's becoming more popular, you can find more opportunities to work, to intern before, and then eventually get a job once you get the studies and the information. But one of the best things you can do now is there is a free climate change youth conclave coming up in July for Bahamian students. I think the link just went out today. Make sure you sign up. When you go there, you're going to network with persons that are in the climate field change field, and you can start, you can develop relationships there. It's really about networking in our field. Who I don't like to sound like that, but it's really a lot of it is about networking and sharing information, and that's how you're going to really get into the field. So I'll share the link in the chat when I finish talking, so you can make sure you register for it.
You read my mind. Thank you very much.